Hi, everybody. Hey, welcome into Ronnie Reno Live. It's sort of an intimate setting with me and friends of mine that I asked to come on and chat with and do some stuff like that. I got a dear friend on today. I'm going to introduce him here in just a minute. But before we get started, I was going to let everybody know about our Bluegrass Music TV. We are on Facebook. We're on YouTube. And you can go to our website at bluegrassmusictv.com and see what all we're doing. We just launched a couple days ago. We did Bluegrass Music TV Prime, which is a new platform for Reno's Old Time Music Festival. It'll be the new home of my older show. The new home of 615 Hideaway. We've also got Friends with Wood Songs is going to be on there. All kinds of good stuff that you can go to, and that is a subscription service, $4.95 a month. And my gosh, a gallon of tea will cost you more than that nowadays. So anyway, and it takes longer, to watch this than it does to drink a gallon of tea. So go and see what we're doing. I think you're going to enjoy it, and we're going to keep adding stuff as we go along. It's sort of where our industry is heading, and we're just honored and tickled to death to be a new platform for all our artists and our friends and our genre of music, bluegrass music. So anyway, check us out. It's bluegrassmusictv.com. Go there and see what all we're doing. It's some new stuff. Now, a good buddy of mine, and I appreciate him coming on and doing this, but he's got a great band. They're doing some great things, and me and him we're gonna just have a good time today. Mr. Joe Mullins. Welcome, Joe. Come in.
Hello, Ronnie, and thanks for the invitation.
Oh, glad to have you. It's Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers, and I've always loved the name, Joe, of your band. It sort of spells it out, don't it?
It happened by accident. I've been a picker and a singer and a radio guy.
Yeah.
Next month will be 39 years. I was 16 years old. I started doing radio started doing Saturdays at a little station my dad was the manager at. And by the time I got out of my sophomore year of high school that summer, I was on every day. And I've been on more than off for 39 years now on radio, and then trying to be a banjo picker too. And back maybe 17, 18 years ago, I didn't have a band, but I had to do a live broadcast at a car lot, and they said, we need some entertainment. And so I got 4 or 5 pickers, and we went and set up the sound system in the showroom and drew a little crowd for them all. And a buddy of mine from over in Indiana was playing the bass with me. And he says, if you ever get serious about having a band again, it ought to be Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers. And sure enough, about 15 years ago, about this time, the first group of Ramblers and I started rehearsing. And our first real show with that name was also at a car lot.
Oh, my God. Well, yeah, you do free shows at a car lot. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do for sure. Hey, while you're watching this show, buy a car if you don't mind, Well, but it's a great name and a great group, Joe. You're doing some wonderful music. You've always been one of my heroes with traditional bluegrass music. You and your dad. Down through the years, we've sort of seen each other out of those 39 years you've been going. I've probably seen you 30 of them for sure.
Yeah, at least. But I believe you were still working with Merle Haggard the first time that we got acquainted. And by the way, for our viewing audience, I'm in southwestern Ohio right now. I'm at the radio station office. I've been blessed to manage and own a little network of radio stations in southwestern Ohio. Real Roots Radio is our home online. That's our broadcast. It's Real Roots Radio. Just put .com after that to listen online or look in. But I've got AM and FM radio stations in 3 counties, all in the Dayton, Cincinnati area of Ohio. And my dad was on the radio station in Middletown, Ohio, right between Cincinnati and Dayton for about 25 years. And I think the first time I met you, Dad was doing a promotion. And he'd hired Don Reno and the Tennessee Cut-Ups to come up to Hamilton, Ohio, and do something. I believe one of the Woolen brothers had something to do with it.
Oh, yes, I remember with Roger Richardson. Yes, I do remember that.
And I don't know if you were still working for Merle and just came to hang out with the boys and party all weekend, or if you had just left Merle and was just a special guest with your dad and your brothers. But I was probably only about, I'm going to say it's probably about 82, I think.
I had just left Merle. I left Merle in 81. So, I had just left him. Yeah. In fact, Dad and I were together doing a bunch of things together at that time. And I definitely remember that. The Woolen brothers had they were selling all kinds of shrubbery and stuff. They had a nursery going on, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, so that's the first time that you remember seeing me.
Yeah, well, first time I remember seeing you. You might have been at Mom and Dad's house with your dad when I was a little bitty kid. You're a little bit older than me, but I've got one memory of seeing Red Smiley. He came back and helped your dad and Bill Harrell the last year before he got sick and passed away. If I'm correct, like 71.
He did.
I would only been 5 or 6 years old, and Dad had Don and Red at the house for a day. No doubt they were going to do a show somewhere here in Ohio, and Mom fixed supper for everybody. I remember Red wasn't feeling real good, and Dad had a big old recliner chair. And Red reared back and put his feet up in that recliner, and that's one of my memories of seeing bluegrass heroes at the house. It was Reno Smiley one weekend, and the Osborne brothers the next weekend, or Ralph Stanley and Larry Sparks the next weekend. I was blessed to be surrounded by bluegrass history growing up.
Well, you came up like I did. It wasn't nothing to have Bill Monroe over for breakfast or Jim and Jesse coming by. I mean, golly bum, we had everybody that would come by, the Stanley brothers all the time would eat with Dad. He loved to do that. He loved to have my mom cook for him for sure. And she was a good cook. I loved it too. But it's amazing, when you look back, because, you're reflecting back on your years. And of course our timing was wonderful, Joe, let's face it.
Yeah.
Not many people got to see Red Smiley, especially at their own house,
Yeah.
Or like with me, to sit around and play with Bill Monroe in our house, and things like that. Of course, your dad was, I never will forget one time, and I've told you this before, but I have to reflect about it. I was so impressed with him. I went down to his radio show one morning there in Middletown.
Yeah.
And he, I just went by to visit and just have a good time with him. I don't know if we'd been out the night before. I think I was with the Osborne brothers or something like that. But anyway, he turned on. When that red light come on, he did too. And I could not believe he was entertaining. I mean, he got on with it. There was no slowing down. It's like you're going to wake up with me, or you better just go back to bed. One of them two things. But I loved your father. He was wonderful.
He had a lot of friends in the music industry. He was a good player, always with good bands, a good MC and concert promoter. But on the radio, he had the biggest impact because the radio station in Middletown, Ohio, had a great history with bluegrass and country and hillbilly music from the time it went on in the 40s. And he came there in the 60s, and the station reached all of southwestern Ohio, all the Cincinnati-Dayton market. And man, he kept the music of the Renos and the Country Gentlemen right alongside Waylon and Willie and Haggard, and played country and bluegrass music, his favorite playlist, and made it special for all the people in this area.
Oh, when your dad, when he endorsed the band or endorsed the music, then people, that was good enough for them. It was just, they'd come out and see you. If your dad said, "Now don't miss this, go out there and see them boys. They good."
Yeah. He could get a crowd in front of bluegrass entertainment anywhere in Southwest Ohio. That's how I started hanging around with Dad, and we had a band called the Traditional Grass.
Well, I had you on my show. Y'all did my show in '93.
We did. We started a band in Middletown, Ohio in '83. Just like I started the Radio Ramblers back then, I believe around December of '83, we did 2 weeks in a row of doing a live radio broadcast and an hour of bluegrass entertainment at a big indoor flea market. And we learned how to be in front of a crowd and how to be on the mic and how to pick and sing, me and Dad and Mark Rader. And
for sure.
We wound up perfecting that to where me and Dad went off the radio in '89 and took that band on the road for about 6 years. And that's when we did a lot of shows with you and the Reno brothers.
We sure did, and had some great times for sure. But I tell you what, speaking of the Radio Ramblers, I hear y'all got a new one in there that you can either play some new jokes on, or he's going to play some new jokes on y'all, and that's Mr. Jeff Parker.
Yeah, I've been blessed to not have very many band member changes through the years, but COVID's kind of changed everything. And our original, one of the founding members of our band was Mike Terry, great mandolin man, great singer. But after we were home about 6 months, he wound up having home about 6 months last year into the pandemic. He wound up with a couple new grandbabies, and he had fired up a very successful heating and air business that he'd managed before we were on the road. Right. So I had conversation with Jeff Parker. We made friends easily when we worked a lot of shows with Daly and Vincent. We worked with Daly and Vincent from the Ryman Auditorium to bluegrass festivals coast to coast. And Parker always likes our style of traditional bluegrass. And Jeff had COVID also changed the world for him. Jeff he'd had a band, a couple of summers, and after COVID just robbed all their momentum. He and I were talking late last summer, and I said, "You'd make a good radio rambler if you was of a mind to." And he said, "They ain't but 2 or 3 bands that I'd love to be part of, and you got one of them." And so, first show with Parker was a radio rambler for the first time at Doyle Lawson's festival. We've only done about 6 appearances over the past several months because of COVID. But we got to work at the outdoor festival in Denton, North Carolina with Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver. That was Jeff Parker's first night as a radio rambler. And we've only done 4 or 5 things since then. We got to work for a bluegrass festival crowd down in Florida after Thanksgiving. And he's natural entertainer, great singer and player. We did spend a lot of time together this winter rehearsing a new set of gospel songs. And we'll have a new gospel album that features all the radio ramblers, me and Adam McIntosh, guitar and vocals.
Good.
Randy Barnes, bass and bass vocals. Jason Berry, our great fiddle player.
Oh, you bet.
Jeff Parker, mandolin and vocals. We just finished a gospel album that'll be available by Mother's Day.
Oh, okay. And that's on Billy Blue Records?
Yeah. We'll have a new gospel album on Billy Blue Records by Mother's Day weekend. I think you'll start hearing music in March from that, and then the whole album available in May.
Good. Well, that goes right into new music from the Radio Ramblers, goes into a new project that you're doing. I wanted to chat about with you because it's from what you're telling me, and you called me several months ago and told me about this, and I was excited at that time. But it's a new project on the Smithsonian Folkways with those folks and everything. Tell us a little bit about it, Joe.
I called you late last summer because I called you late last summer because I was in the middle of producing this album. And I called you because you recorded hundreds of songs with your dad at King Studios in Cincinnati.
Right.
And I bring that up because Industrial Strength Bluegrass is the name of a new book and a new album that's on the way. I'll give you a little bit more bluegrass history here. The term industrial strength bluegrass was first used by Neil V. Rosenberg, the guy that wrote the book on bluegrass.
I know Neil.
Neil came to Dayton in the 80s for a special event, and Neil wrote a piece about the music that was made by folks that left Appalachia and migrated to Dayton and Cincinnati. And they brought banjos and fiddles with them. You worked for the Osborne brothers, Bob and Sonny's mom and dad. Right around the time of World War II, they left the hills of Kentucky, and their dad took a job at National Cash Register in Dayton, Ohio, when they was boys.
That's right.
And, the Osborne brothers started singing on the radio station in Middletown, Ohio. Bobby sang there first time, I believe, in 1949 as a teenager. And and there's a huge volume of history from our area. You had the Osborne brothers starting here, Red Allen, Frank Wakefield, Jim and Jesse's first attachment to a radio station was in Middletown, Ohio. They left Coburn, Virginia in back 51, and their first demos for Capitol Records are recorded in Middletown, Ohio, where I grew up.
See, I didn't even know that. That's great, Joe.
It was. And First place, J.D. Crowe played with Jimmy Martin right here in Ohio. Jimmy was starting all over after him and the Osborne brothers were split up, and they was back and forth between Middletown and Detroit and all those years.
Sure.
And the history goes on even a little deeper. I mentioned Reno and Smiley recording for King in Cincinnati. Well, so did the Stanley brothers, hundreds of songs.
Yes.
Even before your dad and the Stanleys got to Cincinnati to record, Herzog Studios was downtown in Cincinnati, and the second and third recording sessions of Flatt and Scruggs and the Foggy Mountain Boys were in Cincinnati.
I'll be dog. Did not know that.
Foggy Mountain Breakdown was recorded in Cincinnati in December of '49.
The first time.
Yeah, the original recording that went on the soundtrack for the movie. Earl's original recording of Foggy Mountain Breakdown was in Cincinnati, Ohio.
In '49. Wow.
49. And we can go ahead and fast forward to Larry Sparks grew up right not 10 miles from where I grew up. And
exactly.
My dad introduced Larry to the Stanley brothers when he was a teenager. And he wound up with Ralph and the Clinch Mountain Boys in early in '67 after Carter had passed away. And he lived here for years and had a great band, and it went on and just done wonderful things. As one of our most loved Hall of Fame members.
Oh yeah, he lives still just over in Indiana, don't he? He's not living far from you, I don't think.
Reno's TV show, and my phone tried to ring.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, my phone tried to ring. Hopefully it didn't. Yeah, I hope it didn't. We're still on the air. I see it there. Still working.
We are, but it's the mic stand trick where you got to tighten up your thing.
Hey, well, I've been rambling on about bluegrass history from southwestern Ohio. That was called Industrial Strength Bluegrass. Right. Industrial Strength Bluegrass, the book released just days ago. Fred Bartenstein and me and a half a dozen other historians were brought together by Miami University in Ohio a few years ago to document all this history. Right. And all that history turned into a series of lectures that was boiled down to a book that tells all the stuff I'm talking about. When I found out there was going to be a book called Industrial Strength Bluegrass about Ohio bluegrass, I talked to my friends at Smithsonian Folkways Records because Smithsonian, when they produce an album, it's available forever in perpetuity. So if people listening to music 100 years from now, whatever device they're listening to it on, they'll get this body of work. Plus, it'll go out to all the colleges and universities. And
it's archived, yes.
Yeah, it's archived. And I said, Industrial Strength Bluegrass, Southwestern Ohio's Musical Legacy. That's the title of the book, and that'll be the title of the album. And I picked out 16 songs.
We've lost you again, Joe. Okay.
I got it fixed.
Well, now let me ask you this: Did you help write the book, part of the book, or did you write it?
Yeah, okay. I wrote. There's one chapter in the book. We say I helped write it. The chapter I've got in there is a detailed interview with Bobby Osborne, and I asked Bobby all about how they wound up in Ohio as boys and what life was like when him and Sonny started learning and playing in all the places they played in Dayton, Ohio, and Middletown, Ohio. And Daniel, my son, he's a great journalist. He wrote a chapter in the book, and his chapter in the book is all about radio and television promoting bluegrass throughout the ages in southwestern Ohio, with a whole lot of it about my dad and all his years on radio.
Good.
The album entitled Industrial Strength Bluegrass, I took 16 songs that connect to my region here, whether it was a song written in the area by Harley Allen or by Aubrey Holt, or it was a song first recorded by the Osborne brothers or by Reno and Smiley in Cincinnati, or one of the demos Jim and Jesse first made here in the area. I tried to cover as much as I could, and we took these classic songs, and we took today's top artists, a combination of bluegrass and Americana and country artists, and we've got a whale of an album, Ronnie. That the first single.
I've seen who was on it. It's great lineup. Congratulations, Joe.
Well, thank you, Ronnie. What a blessing to get the top pickers. It was a challenge during this pandemic.
I bet. It's a challenge to do that even without a pandemic going on, much less with one. Right. That in itself is a feat. And also, aren't you going to go up and do a concert celebrating this in March?
Yeah. The first single off the album is out this week, and it's the Radio Ramblers, and we do a tune called "Reading, Writing, and Route 23," which that song was written and first recorded early in Dwight Yoakam's career. Dwight was born in Eastern Kentucky, but his family migrated to Ohio, where he grew up, and and same way with me. My mom was born and raised not far off Route 23 over in Eastern Kentucky. And Mom and Dad came to Ohio right before I was born. And I grew up living in Ohio, but going to Kentucky at least once or twice a month to see family. And that's what that song, it's about all the hillbillies that left Kentucky and came to Ohio. And
a lot of families did that, Joe. Even the ones that went to Michigan through Ohio, they went back to Kentucky. Like exactly like you're describing it, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's what when I was growing up, people said, "You know what a Buckeye is?" I said, "What?" Yeah. And they said, "That's a hillbilly couldn't make it all the way to Michigan."
That's funny.
Well, we've got the opening single on the album, and then the album releases the last weekend of March. The album is out worldwide come March the 26th, and it features the Radio Ramblers, Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver, Bobby Osborne, Vince Gill, Leanne Womack, Bradley Walker, Daly and Vincent, Rhonda Vincent, Caleb Darty, the Isaacs. This just goes on and on and on and on and on. A lot of the pickers and the bands on the album have some connection to Ohio, but some just have a passion for the kind of music's been made here. Like I got Leanne Womack, buddy, singing a Dave Evans song.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, Dave's from here in Ohio. Dave's were made for Vetco in Cincinnati.
I remember that.
But you got Leanne, and Leanne's a Dave Evans fan, and we've got one of Dave's original songs. Son, it'll curl your toenails. She just sings it from the ground up. It's great.
I bet.
Got Vince Gill in there with a great band with Jason Carter on the fiddle and Jerry Douglas on the dobro. He's singing one of the songs that Flatt and Scruggs first recorded here in Cincinnati. Old tune called "Baby Blue Eyes."
I remember "Baby Blue Eyes." Yes, I do.
Got Vince Gill cut it deep, son.
Oh, I guarantee he cut it deep.
You worked for the Osbournes all those years. The first chart record for Bobby and Sonny was "Once More," and that's when they first developed their strong trio with Bobby and Sonny and Red Allen.
Right.
They learned that style driving back and forth from Dayton to the Wheeling Jamboree. And we got a new version of "Once More" with the Grascals. Really good.
Oh, really I bet it is. Red Allen was so unique, Joe. I never will forget Red. One time I was standing, he was talking, and Red said, "Hey," he said, "I know I can't sing." He said, "But what's my word against millions?"
You probably cleaned that up a little bit, did you, Ronnie?
A little bit. But anyway, Red's son, Harley, was such a great songwriter, that Harley Allen is just incredible. There's so much history that's coming out of Ohio, and I'm so glad that you guys, actually the history on my F5 Gibson mandolin that I cherish so much, it came out of Dayton, Ohio. I know you knew that. I think you knew that. But Bobby was telling me the other day that Johnny Dacus, one of the great fiddle players up there in Dayton, Ohio, actually had the mandolin first.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I fondly think of Dayton, Ohio when I play my mandolin for sure.
Well, I remember you told me that that they brought that mandolin from Dayton down to the studio in Cincinnati when you and your dad and Red were in there working, and you was about 14 or 15, and your dad wrote a check and bought that mandolin standing right outside the studio on Brewster Avenue in Cincinnati.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I think it was 1960 was when we got that.
Well, you mentioned Harley Allen.
Yes.
Harley, of course, grew up working with his dad, but then the Allen brothers were great artists in the 70s and 80s. And then Harley Allen partnered with a banjo picker in Dayton named Mike Lilly for a while. And we've got Harley's music represented on here. One of Harley's best bluegrass classics is a song called "Suzanne."
Yes.
Got Mo Pitney and Merle Monroe together on that. You take Mo Pitney and then put Tim Rabin singing that high stuff like Harley did.
I bet that's good.
Oh my gosh, it's great.
Well, you're going to do wonderful with this, Joe, and I can't wait to hear some of it. I really want to hear this whenever I can get my little hands on it for sure. And congratulations on this project already. Already, congratulations on it. Anyway, I'm sure y'all going to do much more advertising, and we're honored to go ahead and pitch it right here, right now. So
it just rolled out today. The marketing just hit. The first single goes to all the radio stations tomorrow. There's stuff everywhere online linking now to Industrial Strength Bluegrass. The album's out in about 60 days. That weekend, I usually host a big music festival. Usually host a big indoor festival at the convention.
I know you do.
In Wilmington, Ohio. No festivals right now, but we are going to have an online event. We will have a live stream event the 27th of March, an all-day live event to push this album out. It'll be the Radio Ramblers with the Isaacs and Caleb Daugherty and Rhonda Vincent. The Isaacs started right here.
Really?
Yeah, Joe and Lily Isaacs lived in the same county I lived in growing up. And they started their music ministry about 1970 in Warren County, Ohio. And I think Ben and Sonia and Becky were all just about to finish high school up when they moved to Tennessee. And
wow.
So they're a big part of the story too.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I know it's going to be a great project, and I'm thrilled that you did it, because if anybody knows the history and knows how to tell it, it's Joe Mullins for sure. But anyway, y'all out there, listen to Joe and check this out, because it's going to be you're going to want to have that in your war chest of CDs and songs and streams and all this new stuff that's going on for sure, Joe.
Yeah.
I do want to tell them one more time about Joe Mullins and Radio Ramblers. Y'all went, I guess maybe a year or so ago, and recorded a TV show with 615 Hideaway, which is Sammy Samano. Well, they can go online right now to bluegrassmusictv.com and see that. So if you're listening in, go on and check us out and watch Joe and the boys. They were, as always, doing a wonderful job. And of course, you did Reno's Old Time Music Festival with me too, Joe.
Yeah, we did that early in the band. All three of the television platforms that are launching the online stream here with Bluegrass TV, we recorded Radio Ramblers with your television show about 2013, I think.
Yeah.
And, even the Traditional Grass back in '93 was on your TV show that we had way back then. And then it was just about a year and a half, 2 years ago, just before the pandemic, the Radio Ramblers dropped into the 615 Hideaway. And we did all the songs off of our first album for Billy Blue Records are in that television show. Bacon in My Beans and A Folded Flag, and so many of folks' favorites. So we're thrilled and honored to be included with the television programming that you and Sammy have curated and produced for all these years. And RadioRamblers.com, you'll see where we ain't playing because of the
Well, I can't wait, and I know I've still got since I'm not touring anymore, but my dear friends like yourself and many in our industry, they do tour, and they haven't been able to for a year, and I'm not sure when we're going to actually get back to what's called a normal season. Because it looks like this is going to go into the middle of the season anyway before you can go somewhere. But all I can tell everybody, our fan base has always been supportive. Support our bands. I believe that we need it now more than ever to keep the music going, keep it fresh, keep the interest, up with what we're doing. It's an American music. Bluegrass is as American as you can get,
Keep the lights on at my house.
Yeah, right. I'll send you some batteries up there, Joe.
No, we've got some work starting back when we can get outdoors.
Yes.
I think we got some more work down in Florida in April, for the early season. And I think Silver Dollar City just called. We'll get to go back out to Branson in May. Some of the festivals out in the Midwest in July. And a lot of stuff the second half of the summer that got canceled last year is back on tap for the Radio Ramblers. So follow us on Facebook or look at the website. And the website just updated today with all the information about Industrial Strength Bluegrass, the new All-Star project.
Well, yeah, pay attention and go to what Joe's talking about. And Joe, I want to thank you, bro, for appreciate you coming on and chatting with us with Ronnie Reno Live and helping support our new venture that we're on to. And of course, as always, we're going to support the Radio Ramblers also. So we appreciate y'all so much, Joe. Thank you. I know you're a busy feller, and I ain't going to keep you any longer, but thank you. I appreciate it, Joe.
Thank you, Ronnie. God bless you, everybody. Stay safe. We hope to see you soon.
All right. Thanks. And everybody out there, that's it for today. We appreciate you coming in with Ronnie Reno Live, and we're going to be doing a lot more of these things. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you later.